Hey, so back in 2008, when I was a brand new property agent, I knew I had to work hard. Everyone around me was working hard as well, alright? Uh, but at the time, I didn't know that there were a lot of other things other than hard work alone that could actually shortcut my success, and I wish that I knew those things. Alright, so here in this video I'm gonna discuss 10 things that I wish I knew back in 2008 when I was a brand new agent. And number one on that list is definitely going to be having the right mindset. Right, let me quickly tell you a short story. There are two brothers, Vlad and Stan. Alright, and the job is very simple. They have to chop trees. So Vlad, the older brother, quickly goes to, chopping the trees, and chop, chop, chop. He quickly does a very fast job. Start chopping trees, whatever he see, wherever he sees some tree, he go and chop it. All right, and then 3 hours pass. They have to get this job done in 6 hours. Right. So after 3 hours, Vlad, the elder brother, takes a quick break. He says, I've done quite a lot of job, alright. And then suddenly he sees his brother Stan relaxing in the corner, and he's like, "Hey Stan, why are you haven't even started? You're just playing with your eggs, right?" And Stan says something very powerful. Stan says that I'm just sharpening my axe, right? Because when I sharpen my axe, right, I'm gonna do a 3 times faster job, 3 times more efficient. I'm gonna cut 3 times more trees than you in 1/3 the time, alright? And then, what's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is that you have to sharpen the axe before you cut down the trees. Very simple, right? So in the same example, right? Uh, your mindset is the axe, right? Personally, for me, right, when I was starting out, right, I noticed one thing, one pattern, right? The top producer, why were they hitting sales target after sales target year in year out, and then uh, you know hitting their goals and leaving everyone else behind? Why? It was their mindset, right? And I noticed that you can have two different agents, right, having the same upline, same mentor, same manager, right? They are under the same division. They have exactly the same kind of opportunity. They have exactly the same kind of challenges. Yet one agent always outperform the other, always outsold the other agent, always outlast the other agent. Why is that? Why? And the answer is mindset. All right, it's very simple, right? Their mindset is the price they pay for their success. Alright, it's very simple, very straightforward. Alright, there's no other way around it, there's no other shortcut. You have to get the mindset right, and then automatically success comes to you. Because we human beings, we are creatures of habit, right? And then our mind, our habits run us, and then because of those habits, because of that mindset, we make certain decisions. We choose to do certain things, we choose not to do certain things, right? And then we decide to take this action, we decide not to take that action, and out of that we see the results, whether the result is failure or whether the result is in terms of success. Okay, so it goes without saying that if you want to change your results, you've got to change your mindset. Very simple. So Einstein said one thing that is very powerful. The definition of insanity is keep doing the same thing again and again, yet expect different results. So the basically what I wish that I knew that I wish I knew that I had the right mindset. Alright. And the second thing that I wish I knew at the time is basically having a high self-esteem. Let me be very upfront with you. Let me be very honest with you. Alright. Sales is a tough profession. It can be brutal. Why do I say that? With just one no, prospect can destroy your self-esteem. Prospect can destroy you, right? With just one no. But the thing is that what we don't realize is that rejection comes with the territory of sales. Rejection is a part of sales, right? You hear no more times than you hear yes. So basically what that means is that you know you need to protect your self-esteem. Self-esteem is how you feel about yourself, when you are alone, right? So a salesman with a very high self-esteem, he is going to face no problem. He's not going to have any problem facing 20 rejections in one single day. And at the end of the day, he is going to go back home like nothing happened. He's going to play with his kids as if that's the best day of his life. Alright? Because why? Because he got such a high armor, he got high self-esteem, and because of high self-esteem, he doesn't take things personally. Whereas on the other side of the scenario, you have a brand new agent who doesn't have a high self-esteem. Me, I used to be like that, right? So when you have a low self-esteem, what is going to happen is that you will take even one single rejection very personally, and you take it very badly, right? And you start crying and all that, and you start thinking of quitting the sales industry, because like I said, sales is hard. You got to have an armor, right? So for me personally, I mean, I used to have a low self-esteem. I used to have issues with my nose, with my teeth. I used to have issues with my accent because classmates used to make fun of my, all these things, right? So that's the reason why I used to have a very, very low self-esteem. And then, you know, by the time I was selling houses, right, in front of prospect, in front of buyers and sellers, uh, projecting a poor self-esteem actually hurt my chances of a sale. And I realized that if I knew it earlier, I wouldn't have made all those mistakes, and I would have closed all the sales if I knew, how important having a high self-esteem is, and knowing how to keep your esteem high at all times is also very, very important. All right, and then another thing, the third thing that I wish I knew was doing the right kind of marketing. So in those days, when I first joined real estate, and when I first started selling homes, I remember that I lost 8 months of time where I didn't do any marketing, and I lost that time, and I didn't get any momentum for the first 8 months of my career. And in those 8 months, I earned nothing, I sold nothing, right? And the reason is because I didn't have any marketing. And only when I had some marketing going on after that, then I managed to close one small sale, and for the entire year my total commission was about 750. So you can see that not running marketing was one of my bigger mistakes that I make, because at the time I didn't realize that. I think it was a lot of confusion. Because of a lot of confusion, a lot of agents keep telling me they do this, they do that. So I didn't realize that every business needs leads. Every business needs to have inquiries coming in, right? So leads are the foundation of your sales, of your business, right? Of your appointments. So a big part of my confusion was because one agent said, "Hey, I've been running a lot of flyers." Another agent said the secret to his success is actually in running a lot of newspaper ads. That was in 2008. And other agents said that no, cold calling. Some said door knocking. So all that confused me, created a lot of confusion in me. I didn't know what was the right marketing to do, right? So the thing is that is it's a skill that you can pick it up if you are committed, if you want to know, right? There are a lot of courses out there which teach you the right way to market some property. And but in those days, for me personally, I was very confused, right? And this is one of the areas that I wish I knew, and doing the right kind of marketing would give me a lot of overflow of leads, right? So which is a good problem to have. And then another problem, number 4, that I wish that I knew about this, is that having qualified leads, how to qualify prospect, how to talk to prospect who are qualified only. Because I wasted a lot of my time, a lot of my effort, a lot of my mental energy talking to prospects who were very bad. And I was, most of the time, I would, because the reason is I was taught that it's a numbers game. So that is why I would go out and accept anyone who was willing to see me. I would grab the chance. I would take any prospect who was okay to go for viewing or go for a appointment. I would grab him, right, without taking note of whether that person was qualified or not, whether he had money or not. No, right? So that's the reason why I ended up talking to prospects who were angry, who were very insulting to me, who had a lot of problems, who were, some of them were bochap, don't care about anything, right? So I ended up talking to nightmare prospect, and the entire reason was because I was scared. I was afraid to qualify them. I was afraid to tell them, I can't take them up. And then I only solved this problem the day I made myself stronger, the day I grew a backbone, so to say, right? And then because of that, I had the courage to say no to some of the prospects, and the result was that the quality of prospects who came to see me increased, and I started seeing appointment, I started seeing closing, I started seeing sales. Why? All because I started qualifying them, I started filtering them. Because you must understand that you need to filter, you need to build a better filter in order to qualify prospect, because your time is limited, right? You're only able to serve a limited number of people. You only have 24 hours in a day, right? And you can only see those people who are really committed, really serious, really qualified, right? So that is how you maximize your chances of closing rate. And that's why I wish I knew this, in order to prevent all the problems that I face. And the next thing is that I face is that after I had qualified prospect coming to me, right, I had my sales went up, right. So the next problem that I wish I knew about was basically doing consistent follow-up. So when you have prospect coming to you, right, there are bound to have a lot of prospects who are not qualified. You're doing filtering, right? So how to do follow-up with those people who were not qualified at the time. And then this is one area that I struggle a lot, because uh, over a period of 2 years I had about 4,049, 50 around there prospects. So 4,000 prospects over a period of 2 years. I failed to follow up with them, alright. And I only realized that this was a problem after I listened to Dan Kennedy. And Dan Kennedy, in his talk, he was saying, I remember he was saying that a lot of businesses, they don't even realize that they have holes, and you got to plug those holes. When you fix those holes, right, then your business is healthier, right. And one of the biggest holes that a lot of business owners don't know about is with follow-up, because follow-up is everything. I really literally mean this. Follow-up is literally everything. If you don't have any follow-up, basically you're leaving money on the table, right. So when I analyzed, when I after I listened to Dan Kennedy, I analyzed my business. I realized that yeah, I was making a lot of stupid mistakes. I was assuming that I could simply buy a list, and then when I had a listing or when I had a project that needed to be marketed, I could simply blast the SMS, or I could simply blast the email, right. But that's the wrong thinking. That's the wrong type of follow-up. Follow-up means all those prospects who ever reach out to you, ever call you about property or about listing, right. You should have a consistent way, automated way of keeping them in touch with you, because remember, you spend a lot of money to get the inquiries in the first place, right. So if you don't follow up, is all those money is wasted. So that is the mistake that I made around that time. And if you keep marketing and you stop follow up, right, you're always competing thousands of other agents who are also after the same number of prospects. So it's very challenging. It's going to be very tough, and you're already wasting money, but in fact you already have a hidden gold mine that you don't know about, that is follow up, right. So that's why I wish that I knew about it. And then of course the next challenge is how to have a consistent automatic way of keeping in touch with them. That is something that every agent should know about, right. And then the next thing, after I did follow up, the next thing I wish I knew earlier about it was doing amazing customer service. So a lot of agents, right, how to do customer service is very simple. They just send them uh, greeting cards or send them voucher or wish them when there is a Chinese New Year, right? So to me, that's not follow up. That's not customer service, right? So what I mean by customer service is very simple. In my capacity as a property agent, right, how I serve my buyer, how I serve my seller, how I provide them value, right, is that's what I mean by customer service. And normally I have to understand that you know uh, is how what makes my client 100% satisfied. That's the question that I and you should be asking, right? And then who are the person who is able to answer this is your client, right? So when you go to your client, you ask them what is important to them, right? So for me personally, I ask my clients what's important to them, and then when they tell me, I actually made an effort to go and serve them based on what they told, right? So that made me, doing that created friends for me. And why is creating friends important? Because if you are in this business for long term, right, you got to be there when they start thinking of buying or selling a house again. And for most people, they start thinking of buying a house maybe after about 7 years, 5 years, 7 years. So you can see that people buy houses very infrequently. And when you haven't done a good enough job of serving your uh, doing customer service to your client, right, and when they are thinking of buying a house after 5 or 7 years, right, if you didn't do a good job, they won't come back to you. But for me personally, I made sure that I did a good job and I was there when they came to me because it was free money, right? I already spent the money. It cost 10 times as much, it's 10 times more expensive to get a new customer than it is to use an existing customer, right? So that's the strategy. And I mean, I wish that I knew it earlier, but of course I wasted some time, I wasted some effort, and definitely I wish that I knew about it earlier so that I would have solved it faster. Alright, and the next thing is I want to discuss about is I wish I knew about the importance of building relationships. Right, so in real estate, you must understand that business can be slowed down, right? And that I can guarantee you, business will be slowed down, right? There will be slowed down because real estate is cyclical. Yet we have some agents who think that they won't be affected, or they are immune to cycle, or the business is different, right? But it makes sense to keep building a business pipeline so that when there is a slowdown, you still have someone to serve, you still have referrals to go. And yes, referral is one of the best way to serve in that scenario, right? And then you have to be very careful in terms of, you have to have a very long-term mindset to serve, to build relationship, right? Because it's not overnight, it's not over 1 month or 1 day you can build a relationship with customer. You have to be very long term. So that is, if you for me I made the mistake of thinking too much in terms of today's sale, that I want to close the sale today. I want to sell now. I want to sell right now. But the thing is that you must understand that because it's a cyclical, right? And then people buy houses so infrequently, right? It just makes sense to continue follow up, and it just makes sense to do a good job with your client so that they can refer business to you in future, right? And then when there is a inevitable market slowdown, right, you are not as badly affected because you have a cushion. Your relationship are your cushion, right? Because this is related to my belief about follow up. Because when you do follow up, right, the money is in the list, and the relationship is the link between you and your customer, right? So this is very, very important, and I wish I knew it earlier. And the next thing that I wish I knew it earlier is having the importance of having the right team. I didn't realize that the right team member plays a big role until my business almost crashed because of one mediocre agent, right? And why is that? Why do we realtors struggle? Because no one teach us how to manage people. We just, when we hire someone in our team, right, we expect them to figure out what we want. We expect them to figure out how to do all this, right? So the challenge for me was I didn't know how to attract the right team member, how to retain them, how to keep them, how to train them, how to grow them, so that my team works, right? So that was my challenge. And uh, because ultimately every agent wants to have his own team, and that only makes good sense, because when you have a team, right, you are able to free up your time, you are able to free yourself, your effort, you're able to leverage their effort, right? And then you're able to make more money, because you're also making overheading, right? You're also making passive income, you have additional income stream, so it only makes sense. But I wish I knew the right way to build a team, so that I could shortcut my success, I could shortcut my time to get there, right? And the next thing that I wish I knew was having the right system, because you must understand that hard work alone will not sustain you in the long term. You need technology, you need system, you need people to help you. And you must understand that the real estate is a marathon, it's not a sprint. But we still see a lot of agents sprinting, and then they get burnt out very fast, right? And the only way to prevent burnout is to have system, to use technology, right? So that the technology works 24/7. You can, go on holiday, you can enjoy doing what you want to do. And why? Because you have a system in place that helps you do all these things. And for me personally, the day I was burnt out is the day I realized that I wasn't superhuman, even though I wanted to keep working, keep doing an effort, but I got burnt out badly. And that was the day I realized that I'm not superhuman. And then I started looking for a solution. I started looking for an answer, and the answer came to me in the form of a system. And when I turned my system on, my business started running. And for the first time in years, I relaxed. I was totally relaxed. I was very happy, because it took all the effort, all the hard work away from me, right? So that is the key benefit of having a system. And I definitely wish I knew about it earlier. And then, okay, so even for you yourself, to free yourself up, what the bottom line is, you need a system. You need a system, right? And then the last thing, and one of the very important thing is, I wish I knew about getting coach, all right? And for the longest time, for years, I was very suspicious of coaching, about coaches, because I assumed that they had an ulterior motive. So that's why I was very careful, I was very skeptical about coaches, because if they wanted to help you, I thought that they also wanted to, they had an ulterior motive. So I also witnessed my upline, my own upline, only favoring those agents who closed the deal. And those agents who closed more deals than me, my division director would in fact favor them above me. So that made me very, very, very angry, all right? But that doesn't really solve the problem, right? So I realized that you know I realized that the fastest way for me to shortcut my success was not by banging my head against the wall in darkness and try to figure things on my own. And I realized that I needed someone who was already there before me, who already faced all the same problem as me and managed to overcome. And then what I needed to do next was just follow his path. That's it. I didn't have to blaze the path. I just had to follow the path. And then the mentor and the coach was the best way to show me the path, right? And then uh, yeah, it's actually like a coach is like a GPS, because you don't know what you don't know, because you're too close to yourself. You don't know what your flaws are, and I needed a mirror, right? And my coach was the mirror, and he showed me what my flaws were, right? What my weaknesses were, right? So because once I got a mentor, it took me only 6 weeks to triple my results, whereas in the past I was struggling for years and years and I couldn't break through. And the difference between success and failure, I would say that one of the largest reasons for my own success was having a mentor, having a coach to show me the shortcut, right? So coach, having the right coach matters a lot. Even and you should definitely get a coach, all right? And then that will definitely help you to succeed much faster. Having a shortcut, having a proven path, you just follow, that's it. All right. So so far in this video I've been talking about the 10 things that I wish I knew.